everyone, and welcome back to the long-awaited continuation of 10 Hearts Minecraft. My name is Burger, and yeah, I humbly and profusely apologize for the massive hiatus since the previous episode. I'm sorry to keep you loyal fans hanging on. Are there any of you still out there? Oh dear. Yes, I have a lot of answering to do, but that is the name of today's episode. It will be answering. I put a post up on the ultrahardcore subreddit where I said I'd be doing a bit of an AMA, and yeah, I'm glad to see I got a bunch of really wacky and interesting questions, so I'll be answering them today. If you have some browsing you'd rather do on the web or something else you want to do on your computer and listen to me in the background, feel fine to do that. There's not a lot going to interestingly happen on your screen. We have a lot of grinding to power our way through, and what better way to do it than me answering some interesting questions. Oh, and don't worry, there will be a part, I think this is part 2 of episode 24, there'll be a part 3 as well. So if anyone didn't see that AMA post, I'll put a link to it here, or you can leave any questions you'd like in the comments below. So I suppose we'll get to it. First of all, I think a bit of an up to speed for anyone who doesn't know what this is. This is my single player let's play called 10 Hearts, where I am attempting to slay the bosses of Minecraft in ultra hardcore and without using a crafting table, so I can't craft any healing items and stuff like that. That's why it's called 10 Hearts, because I only have the 10 hearts I start with. This is season 2 and we're trying to kill the Wither, and we're up to that delightful step where you have to kill all of the skeletons, which isn't much fun and is very tedious, but well, I guess you'll see how we did on that front as the episode progresses. So I guess, let's just dive right into the questions, in no particular order. Oh man, there's some really retarded ones. Alright, let's start with a funny one. Odyssey MC, one of the master of the bare bones ultra hardcore, asked me 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses. That's pretty easy. I think duck-sized horses are probably a thing at some point in history, but I don't know if there's ever been a horse-sized duck. And I mean, you could fly on the back of a horse-sized duck like it was sort of like a dragon. I mean, if you painted evil face on the, I mean, it'd be terrifying anyway. Have you seen a goose chase something and like peck it and shit? Oh my god, that'd be terrifying. I could go to war on a horse-sized duck, so that one's an easy one to start us off. He also says, on a more serious note, how do I feel about the direction our community is heading towards? Any changes you would like to see or any problems that you would like to fix? He is referring, of course, to the ultra-hardcore community. Wow, I went from a stupid question to a serious question in like 10 seconds. Sheesh, alright, I guess I'll answer that one. Oh man, any changes I'd like to see? Well, I have noticed, and I have complained about ad nauseum a bit lately, there's been a disturbing trend away from ultra-hardcore games towards games that are more just like PvP. I am referring to the games where people don't have mobs turned on. To me, that's just not ultra-hardcore. You take the mobs out, it's basically just PvP without health regen, and let's be honest, in the middle of a PvP fight, like when you're up and getting swords and stuff, you generally don't have time for a healing item. It's whoever wins gets to use their healing items. So hey, if that's your game type you want to play, I'm all for it, but yeah, I kind of wish we had less games like that. I'm more for making the game harder, not easier, so I don't know. Problems I'd like to fix. Man. I don't want to talk about all of them because I don't want to air things that really annoy me, but or maybe things that I shouldn't be talking about here, but I definitely think that the whole process of UBLing and banning, it's fairly good so far as it goes, but sometimes people are a bit trigger happy, I think. So perhaps that's one thing I would like to change, is to make it a bit, I don't know. Well, a lot of you guys know already what I've suggested and stuff, and by and large it's a lot better than it used to be, and hell, I think it's pretty good, but yeah, I don't know. I still think we could do better, but then I also think that, Why do people cheat? Come on, guys. Yeah, it's ultra hardcore. Play it for fun. Let's move right along from that. Okay, there's a few similar ones here, but alright. Oh, here's a good one. Have you really ever been far, even as decided to use, even go want to do more like? Of course, man. I live in Australia. Come on, stupid question. That was from Shrivel Twitch. Dude, every Australian's done that. Where are we? No one at all. So that's Kevin. He says, he asked me, you have a single-use time machine and you're allowed to go back and change one moment in time. What is it and why? Oh man, well the obvious one is like, you know, you should go back and kill Hitler or something, but I don't think that's that, you know, that's not that interesting. If I could change one moment in time, I think, actually there's a few I'd change, but oh man, you know what, I would probably, those, you know, the guys who are in the space shuttle thing, the capsule, that when NASA was doing their moon mission and their capsule set on fire or something like that, or when, I don't know, I feel if I could go back in time, I'd just love to give humanity like a heads up in something technological, you know what I mean? Man, that's a hard question. These are hard questions. I should have thought about these more before I answer them. I'd really like to just... Oh, no, actually, you know what I'd want to do? I'd want to go back in time and I'd want to interview Nikola Tesla, and I would want to show him like a computer or like a modern electronic device and see what he would do with it. That's what I'd do if I could go back in time. I'd do something with Tesla. Hell, I'd just hang out, have a beer with Tesla. That would be great. Okay, another throughout time question, but more offbeat. Name one person you would sleep with, marry, and kill, and it can't be the same person. Damn. I would sleep with, marry, and kill. You know, I don't know. I would probably want to, I don't know, sleep with Mary Curie, marry Lisa Meitner, and kill... I don't really want to kill anyone, you know. Everyone's got a bit of good in them, I'm sure, but maybe I'd kill Edison so that Tesla had a better time. There you go. Third, if you don't know who Mary Curie and Lisa Meitner are, then Google it. Come on, what's wrong with you? Third, travel back in time a year ago. What one thing would you do that would change the subreddit today for better or for worse? Ooh. Man, the subreddit a year ago, the ultra hardcore one, looked vastly different. I'd probably ban that Bergasms guy. He's a troublemaker. No, you know, I'm not sure what I'd do if I could go back a year a day and change the subreddit. Actually, I'd probably put in place all the rules and regulations that we have now through all of the many iterations and stuff-ups and failures that we've been through. I'd probably put them in place a year ago, and I think everything would have run a lot smoother in the interim. Last question. What's the deal with Vegemite? I don't know. It's a delicious, malty, Vegemite-y thing that you put on your toast, man. It puts hairs on your chest, and it's a good source of vitamin B. Hell, man, you've got a kid, you should be feeding him Vegemite. It's good for him. Good for him. I'm a happy little Vegemite. Fairy Juice says, could you recite the story that Schick and Esty already read? No, Fairy. He's talking about a story that they read out, and it's disgusting, and I'm not going to read it. Captain Sparky asks, wait a second. If you don't use a crafting table, how do you make picks and swords, and basically everything? Well, to answer your question, Captain Sparky, I don't. In the 10 Hearts Let's Play, I basically just find whatever I can, trade for anything that I can't find, and use my fists a lot to bash stuff. It's actually quite fun playing with restrictions. The only other person who really does it a lot is Brian. He actually inspired this way back a year ago today, nearly. A bit older than a year ago. This whole Let's Play. Playing with restrictions, I think, actually makes things a lot more fun. But there you go. Ooh, and if you're watching, you might have noticed a little inconsistency with the video. I may have accidentally logged in and played under a different account without realizing it. Dun dun dun. See if you can figure that one out. So there you go, Captain Sparky. That answers your question, I hope. Well, there's a few similar ones here. TGMB1 says, what are some early UHC memories? Ooh, there was another similar one here. Geist says, Geist Infection. I'm assuming that's Geistbuster. How did you come upon the UHC subreddit? And also, if you remember, what was your first win? And what have been your best UHC moments? Random Pixels asked that one. I can sort of combine them, I guess. Oh, and AJ Hockey Star asked me, what was your first UHC win/kill? Ooh, sit down, grab a cocoa. This is going to be a good story. I actually came across the Ultra Hardcore subreddit a fair while ago, like April of last year, I think it was, or something. I used to play, there used to be some servers around Minor Apocalypse and Minecraft Mad World, which were, you would log in, when you scattered, you would be teleported to a random spot in a like 4,000 by 4,000 world, and that was it. Oh, and chat wasn't global. You could only chat to people nearby. So you're on your own, and people just sort of formed raiding bands and started killing each other, and it was basically chaos. And I loved it because you logged in, and it was just this terrifying feeling of, oh my god, I have to run and hide and get armored up as quick as I can. You guys are all probably aware if you've played UHC. That's the feeling we love, the feeling of being hunted. Yeah, just give me a sec to have a drink. Anyway, I've been a long time follower of Kurt J. Mack and Farlands or Bust, and when he obviously played Minecraft Ultra Hardcore Season 3, it immediately resonated with what I love about Minecraft and those challenges. And I think there was a comment by ITARMO, if you guys remember ITARMO. He hosted some of the first games just after a few other people, and he posted something about an official game, and Badge, W92 Badge, posted like official question mark or something. It was around that time I remember finding the forum. I'm not sure if it was via that comment or via his post on the Minecraft Reddit, but that's how I found it. And then I started playing Jackal's Den, which was before Dragon's Den, which was just a 24-hour UHC server. And then I finally got into one of Tiamo's. It was his game number 6, and I had to get up at 1:30 in the morning for it, because he used to host... No, it was 11:30 at night, so it went to 1:30. I live in Australia, if you haven't realised that. It was 11:30 when I started playing, and because he hosted at 10 o'clock in the morning US times, because he's in the Netherlands or something. Anyway, so I stayed up and I played number 6, because those were the games where you had to sign up in the comments. Ooh, pardon me, and only like 16 people got into the game, and it was very exclusive because there was one game a week, and so it was a mad rush, and I signed up for about 4 at that stage and never got in. So I finally got into this one and jumped in, and it's actually on my channel. It's one of the first videos, I think it's like 6 or 7 videos in, is my first ever Ultra Hardcore. I recorded it, and I played in it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I actually won. So my first ever UHC win was my first ever UHC match, and it's all kind of been downhill from there. No, it hasn't been that bad. But there was like a core group of guys back from then who are still around now. Brian was obviously around there. He was in my first match. Kev was there. Climb, Beast Boy Rolf, all those guys who sort of have built this community were all back there in the start. And yeah, they're all pretty good guys. So yeah, that was my first win for you guys, and how I came upon the subreddit. It's one of my favourite UHC moments. I guess some of my other early memories of Ultra Hardcore, the first ever 2-player game that I played in, I teamed up with Zuria, and that was just so much fun. It was just stupid good fun. It was one of those weird things, the first time you talk to someone, you're not sure whether you'll get along with them or anything like that, but we got along great. It took us about 30 seconds to realise that neither of us cared about swearing. Oh man, we had a good game that time. We set each other's dogs onto each other by accident because of lag. We found the stronghold, like just all this stupid shit happened. I teamed up with Zuria plenty of times after that as well. It was we, you know, she's great fun. She's a good person to game with. Z's. So those are some good memories. The first 4-player game with Petey Boo, Zuria, and Tiamo, which we ended up winning. I think that was the only kill I've ever got on Shikkenzane because he was in the nether and we knew he had to come out of our portal, so we just camped it for like 10 minutes while Tiamo got attacked by ghasts, and then shit came out and we killed him and got potion ingredients or something. I don't know. It was pretty awesome. Oh dear. Alright, let's look for another question. I suppose this is a similar one. What is the most strange thing you've experienced in a UHC? This is from Wingnut. And who is your go-to person when you join a teams of 2 game? My go-to person for teams of 2, well, these days it would probably be Fairy Juice. But I'm happy to team with anyone. Like, I mean, you know, like I said, I like teaming up with people like Z or Munchmo or Winter. You know, any of those people I think are just great fun to team with. TG, Camp Laz, any of those guys. What is the most strange thing you've experienced in UHC? Well, here's a fun story. I suppose you could say this is strange. It was a case of someone just not listening to me. Me and TGMB1 playing a game, and TG was quite injured. He was quite low in health, and we had a bunch of apples that we got, and we didn't have any gold, so we went down a ravine to get the gold, and there were waterfalls going down the ravine. Anyway, we got enough gold, and we got TG from 1 heart back up to like 9 hearts, and then we were like, alright, let's climb out of the ravine. So I start digging a staircase up the ravine, you know, like up through the side of the wall, taking the easy wimpy way out, and TG just goes, man, you know, why would you do that? I'm just going to swim up this waterfall. And I said, dude, don't swim up the waterfall. You'll get shot down by a skeleton. And TG's all, nuh-uh. Anyway, 3 seconds later, I hear TG go, nope, pung, skeleton, shoots him off, bam, down to 1 heart again. GG, man. That was, that's a fond memory as well. The derps you have in UHC. Slutty Cow. Slutty says, what has been your favourite match you have ever played in? And what has been your favourite match to host? I'll answer those ones first. I haven't hosted recently. Some of you guys may not even know that I do host. I used to host fairly often. But recently, anyway, my favourite match to host, I did a match on Anzac Day this year. Anzac Day is like the Australian New Zealand Army Corps sort of Remembrance Day. And I did a shared health game with teams of 6. So whenever someone took damage, like everyone on that team took damage. And my team was Aussies with Fairy Juice. I can't remember, we had someone else who wasn't an Aussie on our team. But anyway, we'd killed another team and we were on like half a heart. Everyone was on half heart. Like our team would basically take 1 or 2 hits and we'd die. And we were on a hilltop that was at the meetup point. And we didn't realise that, or we did realise, sorry, the other team was coming to the meetup point and they were all like full health. So we were totally screwed. So we dug a hole on the hilltop and we like hid in it and we were shifted and we covered it up with dirt. And the other team came along and they were all just standing above our heads. And they couldn't find us. And we're just sitting there looking up at their name tags, laughing our asses off in the cool. And then they figured out where we were. I think we'd left like traps and stuff for them. And Fairy was starting to dig a hole because we were trying to escape, and they could hear us digging, and they were coming for us. And we're like, dig, Fairy! Dig! Oh my god, that was such a good game. That was one of my favourite ones to have played in and hosted. That was... brings a tear to my eye thinking about that. But there's been so many good games over the years. Or the WMC Season 2 with the Knights of the Cactus with Numbers and Kiwi died really early on. It was a mole game, and then just the whole saga of me and Fairy not trusting each other and then coming to trust each other, and then finally winning the game. It was just, you can't script that sort of stuff. And the fact that all the way through that, Kiwi and Numbers just stayed in the call and just provided the amusing commentary, and it was just great. Slutty also asks, if I had to choose between Camp Laszlo and TG, who would I pick? I'd pick you, Slutty. There you go. Slightly more serious-ish question, I guess. Leylite asks me, what kind of changes do you think would make the Nether more fun? I think the Nether would be kind of fun if there were kind of like roads that went through it, like long cobble or nether brick roads that sort of allowed fast movement through the Nether, you know, that cut through the Nether, and they wouldn't necessarily have to lead to strongholds or stuff, but they could maybe have like little way stations along them with little houses that could have like maybe blaze spawners in them and then some chests or something like that. But just to make it like, that's one thing Minecraft sort of lacks. Like, it has a lot of structures now in, you think, you know, strongholds and temples and jungle temples and villages and such like, but there's no continuity between these things. There's nothing to link all the distant areas together, and I think it would be really nice if, say, the Nether had these long winding roadways that weren't ever broken or destroyed, that you could come across and just follow them for hundreds of, you know, thousands and thousands of blocks before you decide you want to pop out to the overworld. Maybe they could even have partially built Nether portals and stuff like that. I'd really like to see that in the Nether, which would be kind of cool. He also says, if the Nether had multiple biomes, what kind of landscape features or structures would be fun to see and discover? Well, I guess I kind of answered that as well. Yeah, I'd like to see more miniature structures in the Nether. Possibly you could have like zombie pigman villages, or you could have, I was thinking you could have like Nether villages, with the actual villager guys wearing like demon robes and summoning blazes and stuff. I'm not sure. Let's move along. Archer Knight says, what games do you like to play besides Minecraft? I play War Thunder, which is a sort of World War II flight simulator. I play that with some of the other guys on the Minecore server and other random people besides. I play Cubed World occasionally, and I love playing Super Nintendo games and Game Boy games, and I can actually see from my computer desk my Super Nintendo, my Atari, my Sega Master System, my Xbox, my PlayStation 2, and I think I said my N64, but that's there too. They're all sitting hooked up to an old television that I keep around expressly for playing those games. So that is, that's one of my passions, is retro games, things like Yoshi's Island, Donkey Kong Country, the old Sonic the Hedgehog games, you know, things like that. I love them. The old Pokemon games. I'm a retro game buff. I love them. And I like writing games too, my own ones. And one day I'll finish one and you guys can play it. He said, never. Where are we? Heralyn says, what's the scariest experience you've ever had in your life? Alright, this is actually a funny story. So I grew up in the country, and I lived about 17 kilometers, well, I don't know what that is in miles, you guys, I'll have to Google it, 17 kilometers out of town on a farm. Now, back in my youth, so, you know, when I was like 16, 17, 18 or whatever, I guess I had been 18, I used to go out drinking after work on a Friday night, stuff like that. Anyway, one Saturday night, I'd been out in town with my friends. The town has like 3 pubs, and they all close in order, so you can just crawl from one to the other to the other. I'd had a lot to drink, and it was like 3:30 in the morning, and I was like, alright, well, I'm not going to call my parents to come get me. I'm not going to try and drive home. That's just stupid. Don't drink and drive, kids. So I'm like, I'll walk home. You know, that's not a big problem. Anyway, I'm walking home, and it was a pretty moonless, there was no moon, but there were lots of stars, so you could see fairly well once your eyes adjusted. The road to my parents' farm it doesn't get any traffic. and it winds through some farmland, and it winds through some forest, and it's all in this valley. Now this valley collects fog. So I'm walking along, and the fog starts to creep in, and it's really kind of eerie because it starts at the ground level below your feet, little wisps of white, and they slowly fill up almost imperceptibly, and then suddenly you realize you're sort of waist deep in fog, and there's some sort of fog banks around, and you're walking along, and there was no breeze. It was a dead silent night, completely silent. Now I'm not scared of the dark. I've never really been that scared of the dark. I was when I was little, but I kind of just one day was like, why am I actually scared of the dark? And then I just decided not to be. But your mind starts thinking, and it was about that time that I was sort of sobering up too. Anyway, I'm walking along, and in the paddock, unbeknownst to me, in the paddock next to me, there was, and that was the other weird thing, there were no sheep or cows, like there was no sound. It was kind of spooky. There was a old windmill, and I didn't know there was a windmill there. And someone had used some wire to like tie the top of the windmill up so it couldn't spin around because the bore was obviously broken, but it still spun a bit. Anyway, I'm walking along, starting to get a bit paranoid, because you know how when you're walking on your own at night, you suddenly start hearing the voices, things creeping up behind you. Anyway, your imagination takes hold, as it were. I'm walking along, and there must have been a gust of wind, although I never felt it, and it span the windmill, and the windmill made this screeching metal noise, this screeching, grinding metal. It sounded like a car crash, and I levitated off the road. I flew sideways. I like dived under a bush into the fetal position and stared out, fully expecting to be like torn limb from limb by some demon monster any minute now. Like that was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And I still had to walk 10k's to get home, and oh my adrenaline, it was pumping, man. So that would probably be the scariest experience I've ever had in my life. More scary even than being in a car crash, which I have been in. So thank you for that question, Herolyn, who, if I am looking at this correctly, it is your cake day. So, happy cake day. Upvote. Let's look for another question. Blackie23 says, if Minecraft did a Teams of 2 ultra hardcore with people on the Reddit and you got picked to play, woohoo, which Minecracker would you choose to team with and why? Also, are you planning on continuing Burger Wars? I really like those. Well, thank you. If I could team with anyone, flip a coin between Baj and Kurt. They're both my favourite Minecrackers, and I find Badger's sense of humour is very similar to my own, and hey, what can I say about Kurt? He's an awesome guy, and I love his Let's Play series, and I can talk, he can sit and listen. He's not a super talky guy, I'm a talky guy, that's all good, you know, we'd gel well. Probably not. Am I planning on continuing Burger Wars? I sure am. I just need some people to fight for me, and we will continue. Also, I've been massively busy letely, that's why there hadn't been many videos going up, so I apologise for that, but that's real life, I can't help it. Let's look for a quick one. Dibs says, why does Dibs scream? I'm not sure, Dibs. Why do you scream? You tell me, and then I will tell everyone else. I could think of some good responses, but I just won't say them. This is a PG-13 channel. Oh, Fairy Juice also said, tell us about your gaming history, the first games you played, your favourite games, some important gaming memories, etc. Well, I did kind of answer that. I love my retro games. The first game I played was probably something like Lode Runner or Pac-Man or something like that. It was on an Amiga. Tanks, things like that. Definitely those sorts of games. Oh, if you turn your head to the video in about a minute from now, you'll see me get my first Wither Skeleton skull as well. So I just thought I'd give you a heads up on that. Hopefully this synchronizes. It's weird recording and not watching the video, but anyway, whatever. First games I played, favourite games, I've sort of answered that already. Some important gaming memories. What would be an important gaming memory? The first time I played through Halo on the Xbox. For those of you who've not really grown up with that series or hadn't played games on the 64, like GoldenEye, that was a great game. Perfect Dark, that was a great game. There's a lot of good games back there. But Halo was just different. It was a really solid game with a good story. It's not much more you can say about it. That was a really good game to play through. Playing Killer Instinct for like a whole weekend on the Super Nintendo. Playing through the Donkey Kong countries. Those are all great memories. I still play those games though, so hey, the memories are ongoing. Oh, I know one. On the Atari, there's a game called River Raid. Now, River Raid was banned in Germany, apparently for being a combat simulator. So, Ferry, I don't know if you've heard about it. Atari games are not really combat simulators. Anyway, it's a game where also, fun fact, River Raid was the first game written by a female programmer, and it's a very good game. So, you guys should Google it, because it's awesome. I've still got a copy of it. Anyway, my friend and I, we used to play this game for like days when we were like 4 or 5, and that's one of my important gaming memories, playing River Raid. What's another question? Back to the ultra hardcore subreddit. Beast of MC says, what is the best thing you think you've done for this community? Ooh, well, I'd like to think I'm still giving some value to it, although I definitely haven't been as active as late. But I think the best thing I've done for this community was probably, there was sort of a rocky period for a bit there where people's servers were expiring. There wasn't really many people hosting, and I don't know, there have been times when sort of the communities, there wasn't a lot happening in it, and I tried to get back into hosting. I got Climb onto my server and Rolf and tried to get those guys involved, and TGMB1, just like, I don't know, giving a place for hosts who couldn't host anymore but wanted to keep the community rolling. I'd like to think that was a good contribution that I made. So I just have to be mindful of time here, but I think we still got 5 minutes or so. So I'd like to think that, and just, I don't know, I try to diffuse any bad situations. People argue, there's clashes of personality. We've got like 2,000 members now, it's going to happen. I try to do my best to mediate and help out with those things, so I'd like to think that's a good contribution as well. Also, if I don't get to your question, guys, don't worry, I will try and get to them all. There's a few questions about where my name came from, Bergasms. You'll never know. I can't reveal the origins of my name, or else I'd have to kill you. No, I can't tell you anything about that without giving away too many personal details, so I'm sorry guys, I'll just always have to be Bergasms. But you can feel free to make up your own story of how I got that name, and leave it in the comments below, and maybe I'll give something nice to the person with the best story. How about that? Ooh, here's an easy one. On a scale of 1 to H, what colour is my giraffe? Crimson asked that. Your colour of your giraffe is asparagus. There you go. Scottish Nutcase, can I join Mindcrack? You have to ask Etho. And have I ever teamed with Breegasms? I've never had the chance personally. Ooh, Bree. I have never actually played at the same time as Bree. I've never teamed with her. I hear she's a bit of a, you can insert naughty word here, but hey, I don't know. You'd have to ask some people who have. I don't know, Joey's teamed with Bree and TG's teamed with Bree. I don't know, ask them. Oh, here's a good one to finish it off. Lalana said, do you even lift Fugit? FGT. I can only assume that you forgot how to say the word forgot. And you forgot what you were going to write there. So do you even lift forgot? Maybe you forgot grammar, because that's a terrible sentence. If I drop something, then yeah, I'll lift it back up. So there you go. Ooh, no. What have we got left? Couple minutes. Cold Fusion. In a perfect situation, would you consider doing YouTube videos as a full-time job? I don't think I would. In a perfect situation where I could do it. My passion is I love making videos, I really do, but if I could do something for a full-time job, it would be to write video games. I'm a programmer by trade, but I love writing games. I have so many ideas that I have to implement. I think that might be where some of my plugin ideas come from. So, you know, but hey, it could be something that'd grow on me if I tried. Oh, so many good questions that I haven't answered yet. I'll have to wait for the next episode. Yeah, no, alright. I was going to answer some of your questions, Brian, but I'll save them for the next episode because they're quite good questions. So let's get some of these small ones out of the way quickly. What is your favourite colour in the alphabet on a scale of 1 to 10? 13 and fuchsia. Not sure if that's even a question, but that's okay. Nielsen 241. Have I ever seen a kangaroo? Yes, in fact. Did I mention I grew up in the country? We had kangaroos on our front lawn quite often. So, yes, definitely. Favourite UHC moment? I think I've answered that one. Origin of my name, Bergasms? Can't answer that one. Ooh. Some good ones about favourite TV series. Favourite movie? Oh. Okay, here's a good one to finish off. How many poisonous animals did you kill in Australia? Which and how? This is from Kowalski because he's coming to Australia. I've killed lots of poisonous animals in Australia, mostly because there are lots of poisonous animals in Australia. But I suppose to give you a story, I once had to kill a tiger snake, which I think is about the 4th or 5th most venomous snake in the world, and I killed it with a spade because it was coming across the lawn and the shotgun was locked up in the shed and I had a long-handled spade handy, and so the snake did feel my wrath. But you know, you kill spiders and stuff every day over here. That's just what goes on, man. Oh man, there's such good. Random Guy Kyle's got a bunch of good questions. Definitely running out of time. Right, you know what? We'll finish this off with gun to head, full protection 1 gear or full projectile protection gear. Full protection 1 gear, cause why not? Anyway, guys, that's gonna end part B of the AMA. Feel free to leave questions. I'll put a link to the Reddit post so you can leave them there, and the next episode should be up soon. Woo! Whew. Oh man, this is taxing. Alrighty, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode, which I promise will not take 2 months to get out. Bye bye.